Cole, the one who was arrested.
Yeah, that guy.
He had a hit list, you know,
Yeah.
and it was largely grounded in what the anti-abortion movement, but it was all Democrats on the list.
Oh yeah, no, he had the whole background of being a total. He was sort of like an abortion clinic bomber. He was very anti-abortion, but he was also. He was like a Christian nationalist kind of thing. Although he did a lot of evangelizing in Africa, so I don't know.
And wasn't he also? I thought I heard that. I have not followed his biography closely, but I think I heard on the radio that he was. I don't know if he was a pastor or just an elder in his church, but I mean he was a shaker and mover in his church, I believe.
Yeah. He was a preacher. He was a get out on the street preacher. I don't know. He has a really strange background if you read about it. It's almost like he had three concurrent lives. It's sort of like he has a wife and kids, and he had his own business, but then he lived in somebody's house where he rented a room. It's like, how can you do both? And he had and it made it seem like he didn't have very much money, but then he had two pretty relatively expensive cars. So whatever it is, it's really strange. It comes from really strange background.
But just on a flag, Ben, we have the two anons in the room, and I don't know where to check if we're streaming on YouTube.
Yeah.
Again.
Let's talk about that for a second. Because that Dittman character is a total faggot asshole bullshit. I mean, he is the worst person in the world.
Wait a minute. Who?
Well, all right. I shouldn't use the F word, but no. I mean, he's an evil, horrible, awful scumbag. But
well,
the fact of the matter is,
just for the record, Ben's expressing his own opinion. I don't do name calling. So.
You can look him up. He's a scumbag. He can go to hell. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, maybe you can tell me. I don't even know how to make this room private. Because I'll make it private if I can do it. I don't know. That's fucking...
I mean, I didn't speak up on this yesterday, but honestly, yeah. I agree with the people who said it's not worth wasting any oxygen on this person. Yeah. Nobody listens to wherever he's screaming this. He's just getting his jollies. I would completely ignore it.
Yeah. I know. All right, so let's ignore it, I guess. Unless somebody can tell me how to do it. I really don't know how to do it.
Did you complain? Well.
Yeah, I sent a complaint out, but I didn't expect anything. Maybe something will happen. I mean, what they need to do is just make it so that the head moderator can block an honest group. You know what? I would be totally okay if they said you got to buy a premium service so that you have the ability to block out people. I'd pay it. That would be worth it to me, but it's absurd.
Don't worry about it. In short order, they're going to get rid of this function, I would expect, because it's so stupid. But really, I don't think it's worth worrying about. It really isn't.
So, can you remove a named person in this case?
Yeah, you can remove a named person. You just can't remove the anonymous ones.
That is bizarre. That's bizarre. That's exactly opposite. I thought that you cannot remove the named person, but that should be the opposite. I think the rule.
The other way around, yeah. Anyway, as like I said, he's such a low life. Well, you know what we ought to do? I mean, somebody sent me he theoretically is a congressman from Illinois. I don't even believe that. If he is, I think we all got to get on the phone and start. Job. Yeah. Well, exactly, and doing complaints and well, we can dox him, and then we can take him down. And I think that would be a useful thing. God, it's amazing.
Ben, for what? Yeah. Coming
he's run unsuccessfully once. He lost by like over 15 percentage points. Like, I don't.
Okay, so he never actually became a Congressman. So he's a total loser.
If it's Edmund, then yes, which is the only person I know that's straight rooms.
Well, his name says something. Adam Dittman? What's his first name?
He's not a congressman. He ran once, utterly failed, had no help from his local party. He was just somebody who got a wild hair up their behind then and decided they wanted to run.
All right. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get. They already sent me some stuff how to get a hold of his Facebook account and Instagram account and LinkedIn, and I'll send it out and broadcast it so we know who he is.
So I remember the initial Clubhouse model was supposed to be imitating a living room or coffee house. You know, you're able to go to somebody's house and then have a listen to the chat and then decided to join the conversation. So this is almost like someone, the new rule is almost like someone brought into your house. You cannot get rid of them. You have to...
Right. It's just like those squatter movies.
But especially the rule is like if the person is known, then you can ask them to leave. But if the person is unknown, you have to allow them to stay. What logic was that? What kind of a living room that you want to imitate with the it's like the completely opposite rationale compared to the old rationale.
I agree with you. And by the way, it's Adrian Dittman. It's not Adam Dittman. It's Adrian Dittman is the guy's name. Look him up. Dox him. Tell your friends. Anyway, all right. Let's try to ignore him. Look, to me, there's nothing that we say in here that would be either embarrassing or useful to anybody else. So, it's just the idea of it that bothers me more than anything. So, all right. So it's today. Why don't we get the New York stuff out of the way first? Is Scotty here? Good. Scotty's here. All right. Today is, I guess this is it for the primaries. I'm still confused as to, how the ranked choice voting, because, is this a day of voting, and then when you say it's going to go into different levels, it's just whoever I don't understand. Is there like a second or third vote before the general election, or is this it for the primary?
This is it.
It's it. So, except that it takes a week potentially for them to roll it all out to figure out if nobody gets 51%, they have to figure out who in an aggregate comes out. Is that basically it?
Yeah, Scotty might be voting now because he was on his way to the polls, so he just dropped off. But yes, if someone doesn't get 50% in the first round and runs through various tabulations with the votes, they all retally.
My prediction is that in the general election, you will have Curtis Sliwa, who's this bizarro
guardian angel Republican.
Yeah, very right-wing Republican, and under any circumstances, he's going to lose. And he's run like 4 or 5 times, and he always loses. And look, New York is very much overly a Democratic city. And if you win the Democratic primary, with rare exception. Now, with that said, Bloomberg did was a Democrat and Independent and a Republican. Ran in all 3 capacities in one.
Yep.
So did Giuliani, by the way.
And so did Giuliani, was a Democrat turned Republican. And Lindsey won, and he was a Republican. So it's not like they weren't Republicans that lost. But even the Republicans, at the time they were Republicans, they were really sort of moderate Republicans. They actually, in comparison to the rest of the country, the moderate New York Republican was really a moderate Democrat.
And the election you're forgetting about in the history of New York, okay, before you think Sliwa can't win, okay, is 1970 U.S. Senate election that elected Buckley, 1970. Buckley's brother, William F. Buckley, James Buckley's brother. That was because...
No, that's the thing, is that this idea of splitting your party can...
Exactly, because
that was a situation, if you get enough Democrats or near Democrats running on whatever line they're running on, you could elect like a kind of more conservative Republican. So Cuomo's has a line he can run on in November, even if he loses the Democrat primary. So does this other guy who's his near contender.
Yeah, they both.
And then Eric Adams is going to be running as an independent. So you could have a split vote.
I think no matter what happens in the primary, I think it's going to be a four-way race in the general. It's going to be the Republican, it's going to be Eric Adams, and then it'll be either Cuomo or Mondami will win the primary, but the one that loses will continue to run in a minor party. So you're going to have four candidates no matter what at the end of the day.
And Cuomo will
So
be
they
the
say,
independent, and Mondani the working
Is it
families.
ranked choice voting in the general?
No,
Oh, so
Yeah,
it's
that's-
only ranked choice voting in the
I'm
primary.
going to verify. I think, yes, you're
It's
correct.
only ranked choice in the primary, Steve.
And if no candidate gets 50% in the general, they're still the winner. There's not
Yes.
a cutoff.
Yeah.
Like in most elections in most places, if you get the most votes and you've got 32%, you win.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You would think that it's the general that needs to be ranked choice voting.
That's really strange system.
I know. And there's no reason why it can't
What do
be.
they do in Maine?
Alaska, the reason why Mikulski, is that her name? Mikulski won in Alaska was because they had Mikulski. Yeah, because she ran choice voting. She ran even as a write-in ranked choice voting and won. So it's
She was
possible.
replacing her dad, wasn't she?
Yeah.
No, but Andrea, that was after she was already in office. She did replace her dad.
Oh, yeah.
She lost her own primary. Then she lost a primary as an incumbent, and then she came back as a write-in.
Yeah. But it's going to be a really, I mean, I think, at the end of the day, not that I like the guy, but I think that Cuomo probably is going to win.
And thanks to you, I'm writing in Adrian Dittman for New York Mayor.
I wanted to write in Wes Moore, who moved to Maryland as governor there.
I didn't know where did Wes Moore grow up?
No,
I thought he was from-
it's just that he was up in New York for a long time because he was on Wall Street and then he ran very successfully the Robin Hood Foundation. So he has all this incredibly great military he's an incredibly interesting personal background, overcome a lot, raised by a single mom. His father was killed early. He even did a brief stint in prison. He served in the armed forces, and then he came out. He did very well on Wall Street, and he was in. Then he ran Robin Hood Foundation, which is one of the biggest charities in the nation, maybe the world, donating to anti-poverty programs in New York, and did very well there. And then ran to become governor of Maryland. He dealt with that, collapsed bridge really quickly and effectively, as many other things. Anyway, he's in the list of names for 2028 presidential. I wanted to write him in. Wanted him to come back.
Look, everybody keeps talking about him as being a real potential, star.
Well, he's got a lot of diverse groups, and he's young, and he's incredibly charismatic and appeals to a lot of young men.
Yes, but he's a Jew.
He's.
Not only is he Josh Shapiro.
I'm not talking about him.
Oh,
We're talking about Wes Moore.
Wes Moore, he's black. I'm going to post my photo with him. That was the
I
best.
thought you were talking about Pennsylvania, where the governor got everything done so quickly. You don't remember that?
Yeah, sure we do. We love Josh Shapiro. He's a good guy, but
Sorry, this is Wes Moore. Yes. Okay. Well, then I have my other objection. He's black.
There you go.
I mean,
Anyway,
the party has not been very open-minded.
Well, we need to get some energy, and we got to get a star or two, and I don't know. We just have to just keep moving forward. I don't know who's going to like come out ahead of the pack, but all the shit that's going on is just fucking crazy. So, did we finish up in New York? Moose, did you have any comments about the election in New York? Moose, anybody home?
I don't think we. I mean, I interested. I mean, for folks who don't know, there. Scotty and I did a room earlier today. We were talking about the incredible campaign that Zoran's team has run. There's a huge appeal to young voters. Much of the early vote was estimated to be organized young voters that were getting out there. The vote is meant to split.
Well, truthfully, I think that the New York mayoral election, I mean, it really, look, I'm moving to New York, so it's important to me. But to people who don't live in New York, I don't know how much interest it is to them, other than if Zoran wins. If Montgomery, if he wins, that will be a pretty interesting example of how a young person of his generation can use all the tools available, including TikTok and his sort of viral media, how he can use it to win a general election. Because at the end of the day, somebody who's, look, he's 32 years old, and the biggest rub with him is that he's inexperienced, and everybody is looking for somebody who can get stuff done, who has some experience and some wins under his belt. But if he can come in and, believe me, New York, mayor of New York is a huge thing. Mayors, I remember somebody telling me that if you want the two most powerful positions in the United States are either president of the United States or mayor of a big city. Because you have just so much control that, much more control than a governor would, in terms of actually being able to do stuff directly.
Actually, the actual expression is that it's the second most difficult job in the country. But I'm going to correct you on something.
Okay. You know that, like Los Angeles, the mayor is actually not that.
Exactly. That was my point. The mayor of a lot of cities don't have the power. The mayor of New York has a lot of power relative.
So does Chicago.
Didn't say the mayor of LA or the mayor of Chicago, right? Exactly. Well, here's the thing. Within New York, though, this is why I'm surprised Cuomo's even running. The mayor of New York City is nowhere near as powerful as the governor, okay? Okay, because a lot of things that you want to do, you need to get what's called a home rule message from Albany, okay? So, don't let that, deceive you. The governor of New York is a much more powerful position than the mayor of New York City by far.
Ken, as he liked to demonstrate every time he played like daddy to Bill de Blasio. Do you remember? During COVID, the back and forth was, that was like a soap opera to watch. It was incredible.
Well, you know what?
So I wonder how he's going to feel working for Kathy.
Right, who he picked as his number two. I mean, that actually that's going to be a TV series, a Netflix series.
Yeah, but I think you missed something. I think you're discounting something then about the Zoran effect, which is, I don't think it's just the TikTok. I mean, that is an incredible way that young people, where they find each other, meet each other, and get influence. But I think it's more that they see somebody representing a little bit more of some of their values. He's talking about the affordability crisis, and he's talking about an issue that I can't remember what the breakdown on it.
I bet he beats Cuomo.
It very well could be an upset. Everyone thinks and says that he has it in the bag, but maybe it'll be a turnout game. Actually, we should look at the numbers of voters, how they break down.
I think he could win the primary, but I think he'll lose the general. But I think he could win the primary.
To Curtis Sliwa?
No, because Cuomo's going to run no matter what.
To Eric, to either Cuomo or
Eric, or Cuomo and Zoran will split the traditional vote, and Eric Adams would win. That's
or Adams and Cuomo split votes because they're seen as more alike because of who their donors are.
It could be.
If Zoran wins the primary, he's going to probably win the general. He's going to probably win the general if he wins the primary.
Yeah, you know what? You may be right that the person who would vote for Adams and Cuomo are probably closer.
I may be right because I'm there and you're not. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Ken.
That's true.
No, I think in the general, if there's a surprise in the general, if let's say whoever the Democratic nominee is, the Zoran is the Democratic nominee, I would think that, quite frankly, then you need to worry about Zoran split, Cuomo split, Adams split. Sliwa might have more of a chance than you think in this election.
Oh my
goodness.
Ken, have you ever met him? I've ridden the subway with him a ton.
I never met him, actually. Even when I lived there, I never met
He's
him.
still wearing the uniform. Guardian angel uniform, that is.
That's probably a mistake politically, but yeah.
Okay. All right. I think we've done it with the, we'll have to deal with the aftermath because this actually probably is going to take a few days before we figure it out because I think it will be pretty.
Couple of days. I think it went 7 or 8 rounds the last time, but I do think that it's it's interesting to watch. I think it's indicative of the split on the left between the moderates and the more progressive arm of the party. So let's see, between young and old, and it's New York. It's only New York, Francine.
If Zoran wins, what do we get for free? We get free buses.
And you might not be able to get that through.
Do we get free groceries or something like that?
And we don't get free housing. Only some people. But no, he does want to work on housing. So free buses is the main thing.
Okay.
By the way, most of the things he's promising he can't deliver as mayor, even if he wanted to. Again, because the mayor doesn't have the power. The mayor doesn't
That's
have
what I say about him is he is very progressive. He's got some crazy ideas, but the truth is that the most radical things that he wants to do, it won't happen. It doesn't work that way. So it's sort of like, would that be okay?
There's nobody running for office, either locally or nationally, who can even add and subtract. If they could, they would know what they could and couldn't do.
No, okay, so that's not true. We've done the mistake of the traditional lamestream media in here right now, which is that we've only focused on the top 2. There are a slate of really excellent candidates, one in particular that might get ranked second, and that are, really. Brad Lander is the city comptroller right now, so hopefully he freaking is doing the math. And so there's that, and he has a track record on housing, and he seems to be kind of a moderate in between Cuomo and or a pragmatic progressive in between the two, Cuomo and who's not progressive, and Mandani. Although they are kind of campaigning together, they cross-endorse each other, Lander and Mandani, and they were just on Stephen Colbert, if that means anything. I wonder if one of them, if whoever wins, I wonder if they'll pick the other to be like deputy mayor. That seems like a.
Well, like you said, weren't they? They're like sort of cooperating together, Mandani and the controller.
Yes, but largely, I think to beat Cuomo. But who knows what else it might.
That makes sense because Mandani has all the crazy ass ideas, and Lander can add and subtract. So together, they can.
Well, you know what? candidates for any public office should be required to take the SAT, just the standard SAT, and then that would like shake it up.
Well, and
Did you know?
yeah, I think we're veering into Solutions Friday.
No, I don't see Trump getting more than a combined 800 score on the SAT.
But also,
it's the obvious joke, Ben. What Trump has proven, you don't need to know how to add or subtract to get elected president. You just have to know how to divide.
I like it. Whoa! Bumper sticker. I like it. All right. Let's
don't forget Adrienne Adams, a strong black woman who has
like
experience on the council, who's a speaker there and has corporate experience, who came across as the adult in the room on the stage during the debates, and the very young and thoughtful, and I really like.
And a black woman. I think, first of all, they should just get rid of all the other candidates, and only women should be running for this office. I'm tired of the fucking men. The women are much better at this.
Well, the men are going around almost blowing up the world. I'm sorry to say to my male friends up here. But then Zelnor Miri, who is not that high up in the percentage in the polls, but he's a young black leader in the state legislature, and running on the progressive slate. And I don't think he's going to pull it off this time, but I think he's someone to watch in the future. But Scotty and I also voted that if Mandani doesn't win, if he doesn't do deputy mayor or whatever, that he should either go back for city council or run in one of the well, we're not sure. It depends on what AOC does, because we think he's from her district, and we thought he should run for Congress.
No, he's from Astoria. He represents